Well, these guys are just out on the riot. So, we got Oscar De La Hoya getting sued for sexual assault. Oscar De La Hoya is being sued for sexual assault by a former, vocational nurse or something like that. My bad, I'm driving and I ain't got the stuff right in front of me. But he's being sued by some nurse who he had a sexual relationship with, and she records the incident that he called her over his house to see one of his new homes, and she was under the impression that they was going to have casual sex. And she said Oscar De La Hoya asked her to do basically an awkward or a weird sex act that she wasn't down with. And she said no, and the report said that Oscar De La Hoya just went ahead and proceeded and did what he wanted to do with her. And after she was done, she complained of pain and swelling and had to go to urgent care and was prescribed medications for her injuries dealing with Oscar De La Hoya. Okay. As far as sexual assault cases and all this other stuff, look, we all know what's going on out here. We all know women is seeing this Me Too movement and all this crap and jumping all over it and looking for paydays and all that stuff. I'm fully aware of that crap, and I lean more towards believing in the man more than the woman nowadays, because women has always got the benefit of the doubt and men have always been in the wrong. Even when been proven innocent, they still have to wear that baggage, But when it comes to Oscar De La Hoya, I take a special pleasure in repeating on this pantyhose wearing cokehead, because like I always bring up, double standards in boxing, they tend to sweep issues like this under the rug. But once again, a person who I always have to use for an example, once again, when it comes to Mayweather's affairs, it's blasted all over the TV. They talking about it on CNN. Everybody's outraged. Oh my God, he's a woman beater. He's a woman beater. He's a woman beater. Didn't even care to investigate whether it was accurate or not. So I don't see why people care to investigate whether this is accurate or not. But this is how I know and why I will give this woman the benefit of the doubt and why I would believe her wholeheartedly. Number one, you've seen the pictures of this fool. Okay. And she also says during the acting when it happened, he was highly intoxicated and high and shit. And y'all seen the pictures of Oscar. It's no secret that Oscar De La Hoya lives a cokehead, pantyhose wearing life. You know what I'm saying? But what people don't know, and what people didn't want to talk about, and what everybody swept under the rug, and people want to put out this boxer domestic violent case and that boxer domestic violent case. You want to know what never made it to mainstream to be talked about? The fact that Oscar De La Hoya raped a 15-year-old girl in Mexico and settled out of court for it. Have any of you ever heard of that? I know a lot of you never heard of that, but you heard of some Mayweather domestic violence shit, right? You heard of that, but did you hear about him raping a 15-year-old girl? And if he's so innocent, why the fuck would you settle out of court? She's a 15-year-old girl. She ain't got the kind of money. Her parents ain't got the kind of money that you got to go to war and go to court with you. So evidently, she must have had something on you so convincing that you knew you was going to lose in court to the fact that you settled out of court. And notice, nobody ever brought this up. And this is years old, people. This is years old, but you never heard about it. Right. Just like they try to sweep Kovalov's domestic violence and sexual assault cases up under the rug. They don't want to talk about that. It takes somebody else on the sidelines or somebody like me to spread a light on that shit. But Oscar De La Hoya is back in court being accused for rape. And there's no reason for me to put it past him, because if you settled out of court one time for raping a 15-year-old and you caught all over town cross-dressing, coke sniffing, and just acting absurd, then yeah, this shit ain't shocking to me. So do I believe some Me Too money grab shit is going on here? No. But do I think that she's under emotional distress? I don't think that either. You know what I'm saying? I think he really did something, and it's just an opportunity for her to capitalize on it, you know? Now, it would be wrong of me to say that somebody forcefully being raped, is, lying and all this other stuff, but it's so much accusations out there, and women lie so damn much about this stuff, and they get the benefit of the doubt about this stuff that, it always leads me to be skeptical. But since I know this man's history, you know what I'm saying? And since I know about his prior cases, would I dubbed him to be guilty of this shit? Hell fuck yeah. And even if he wasn't guilty of it, what does it matter? Because I know if the tables were turned and the crosshairs was on other boxers or something like that, you guys would accuse them without even looking into it and wouldn't even blink an eye. That's some people, not all. You know what I'm saying? Those of sound minds don't do things like that. Those with agendas and, certain other issues do. But this ain't nothing shocking. There are probably going to be more women coming out against Oscar De La Hoya. But the point is, you'll never hear him be called a rapist. You'll never hear him be called a woman beater. Hell, you barely hear him being talked about cross-dressing like a woman and in high heels and boxing gloves. You barely hear about that. But people will be hung up on Deontay Wilder smacking a hooker. You know what I'm saying? Or this boxer over here doing that. Or Mayweather putting his hands on his baby mama or something like that. You'll hear about that 100 miles an hour, but they never talk about this kind of thing. And just pointing out hypocrisies and double standard, that's kind of like my forte. I can't help but to see it, and I can't help but to talk on it. But anyways, like always, that's my thoughts on it. You're more than welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments section. Bruce Vane, I'm out.